Hey guys, we are back for episode 3. I think this is of the Strong, Sexy, Successful podcast. I am super excited today to introduce Jacqueline Sobotka. But before we get to the introduction, I wanted to share the mission and vision of the podcast. I had this dream to bring women together from all across the globe to support and empower each other through sharing our journey and stories and learning lessons, especially if you're an entrepreneur or an athlete. This is something that you will resonate with, okay? These personal stories and expertise of the guests on this podcast. Of course, we're going to bring the fire. We're going to bring some laughs, lots of value to you as a listener, and we're going to keep it fun and lively and entertaining to keep you engaged. Now, these discussions, our intention is to teach you how to have it all, right? Some people do really well with being sexy, but they're not very successful. They don't make a lot of money. Some people make a ton of money, but they don't really have that appeal to be strong and fit in their lives. And I wanted to show women that you can obtain all of it. Optimal health, optimal finances, the sex factor, confidence with your physique and your mindset, and all of these things. So I'm bringing professionals and personal friends and entrepreneurs and moms on the show because sometimes we are just the unsung heroes that nobody knows about, but we can very much benefit from the stories and experiences. So Jacqueline and I go way back to at least 4 years ago, right? When I was living in Indiana.
Feels like I've known you forever, though.
know,
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
know.
it feels like a long time, but yeah, it might just be the 4 years.
For sure. And we met
We're
through competing.
It was
We're
your
both
first.
coaches. My first show was in 2016. So I think it really came together in 2017
Yeah, I think so too.
when I had my my downfall. And then of course you rise from the ashes. But we came together because we've been coached by similar people. We've gone through similar journeys with respect to our own competition journey. We both coach now, and we work with other people whom we try to take our experiences and be better coaches. But the biggest thing and the reason why I wanted to bring Jacqueline on, not just because of the camaraderie, but because to me, as a personal friend and mentor and support system, I believe she completely embodies the strong, sexy, and successful trio that I was going for. So I wanted to tell a little bit about herself. And
you're making me blush over here.
I know, like, don't cry.
Getting hot. Getting hot.
And what I wanted to do is just share, because there's an underlying journey with all of us. And there is something that she's going to share with you all from a journey that's very common to a lot of women, from insecure and a little bit of battles that you've had with yourself to now.
A little, are you crazy? Like, mad eating disorder, like crazy childhood.
Which you wouldn't know now seeing her content on social media. So take it away. Tell us who you are, where you're at, and the story.
All right. Well, we are in Indianapolis, Indiana. Right now, my business is called Lady Leader Lifestyle, where we coach passionate professional women how to lose unwanted weight without the guilt, the stress, the overwhelm, so they can live a lifestyle that they love. And in doing that, I can kind of tell, I don't know when you want me to actually like kind of tell the story on like how I got to this point.
Yeah, of course. Jump right in.
Okay, cool. So my whole life, my parents were 13, 16, 18 when they had us. So you can think like government cheese, food stamp junkies, all like that would bring challenges, right? That kind of developed into a really massive eating disorder because my mom was always that person. I mean, she's kids having kids, but she was dieting. She was always like, I'm not good enough. I feel fat, blah, blah. Well, the childlike brain doesn't understand that. Like, we see perfection. And then when that perfection or that perfect person says how not perfect they are, then we start to internalize that and it becomes part of who we are living forward. And so I really struggled with the security factor. I really struggled with having an eating disorder because I felt like I could control that. That brought me into bodybuilding. And then from bodybuilding, I feel like if you go into bodybuilding and you're insecure or you're not confident or you're going into it because you want to look a certain way, you will be fucked by the end of it. If you don't find that perfect coach that embodies the mind, the emotional, the hormonal, the environment, all the things. And so I was that person, super insecure. I was like, I just want to look good in a swimsuit. I've never been confident in a swimsuit. And it rocked me. I mean, it totally rocked me. It rocked my mindset. I mean, you can relate, you
Yeah.
change. You might find that
180.
confidence, but I feel like bodybuilding is almost a cover up for lots of people who have eating disorders. It's the permission to have your eating disorder. And so, long story short, from there, I completely hit rock bottom. I had gained like 17 pounds in a day, which is crazy because it wasn't right after my show. I was burping up rotten eggs. I was depressed. Nobody knew it. I was just that professional athlete. And I didn't look terrible at the time. And so, I mean, I wouldn't leave the house. I wouldn't go to work. Um, it was pretty sad. And so I saw an episode on Dr. Phil and about eating disorders and treatment and stuff. And I had already tried to go to a bunch of therapists, but they said, listen, you have a chemical imbalance, you need Prozac. Motherfucker, no, I need somebody to talk to because I've had a hard childhood and now I did bodybuilding and I feel kind of crazy. I just need somebody to talk to. And that happened 3 times. And so when I reached out to Dr. Phil, I was just like, I need help. I don't know who I can go to. I didn't know about specialists for therapists. I didn't know there was eating disorder therapists. And within a week, he said, we would like you to be on the show. And I was like, what? What does that mean? If that's not like a sign from God, like for me, when you see the end result from that, I had to totally surrender. And so within a week, I was on the show. But what's crazy is they showed up at my house unexpected before I went. So that
Oh,
they
wow.
can go through my bed. They can go in my car with all my wrappers and shit. They could get me on the scale in my sports bra after, of course, I binged the night before. They completely ripped me raw of anything and everything. And then the very next day, I was supposed to ship out to go to Dr. Phil. I showed up that day. And when I met him, I was like, like, I was like, hi, like, and he said at the end of the show, if you are willing, within 1 week, I will send you to rehab, to an eating disorder treatment center. And I said, I will. And so on April Fool's Day, 2012, I went to the Center for Change in Utah and I was there for 8 weeks. That's where they flashlight you in the middle of the night. You have to get patted down and put your hands on the table when you eat.
Wow.
You can't see yourself in the mirror. You get watched every time you go to the bathroom. Like, it was intense. From there, I came home and I was like, I'm going to teach people how to not be crazy around food. I don't care if you're a bodybuilder. I don't care if you're somebody that has PCOS. I don't care if you're an 80-year-old woman that just wants to be healthy. I'm going to teach people how to reach their goals without being crazy around food and their self-image, because we lose out on so much life when we're caught up in our thoughts of food, nutrition, weight, like all those things. If you take that out of your head, you probably have like 80% room for something else that can bring you joy, right? And so, yeah, that's kind of my deal. And they told me I'd never compete again because I had hypertrophy of my heart. My liver enzymes were through the roof. My blood pressure was like 70/40.
Wow.
They put me in a wheelchair and said I would never bodybuild. 10 months like later, nope, that's not right. Got pregnant first. Then 10 months later, I competed again. And it was the most beautiful experience I'd ever had. I was crying on stage because I didn't think it was possible. So now I help other people do whatever it is that they want to do and find a lifestyle that they love. I know that was long, but
No,
kind of the
absolutely
deal.
not. It's
Yeah.
necessary because, and there's so, oh my gosh, there's so many good points and questions that I can ask. But I think one of the things that's really, really important to recognize, if you can't tell from just the story, is that there's passion behind the coaching. There's a method, there's science, and we both had been victim of coaches that didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And when I vowed to leave my personal dream job of collegiate strength and
I
conditioning, which
can't
is
even
what
believe
brought
that.
me
I
to
don't think
Indiana.
people know how good you are. Like, a lot of people don't realize what you did at Purdue University. Like, honestly, like, and you did those Gatorade events, and like, I think people see you as this like funny, quirky, do these TikToks, and that you're a coach. But like, what you left was amazing. Was really, really amazing. And so I just think it's cool that people could see that side of you too. If you don't mind
I
sharing, like, I
appreciate
don't
that.
think people realize that.
Oh no, and I'm getting better at that. I was terrible at terrible self promotion,
It's
and
not,
like
it's education.
I'm
It's
still
education, baby.
uncomfortable with it, to be honest.
Education. It's not self-promotion.
I know, and I have to frame it that way. It doesn't look like I get a little sheepish and shy. But when I left that, like I was literally with like industry street cred, right? Like I couldn't go to a conference and present without lines of people wanting like the program. And I'm like, well, you have to understand, like the program may seem perfect in the presentation, but like you got to be able to execute it. You got to be able to have the right people that can do this. I'm like, I have kids that are complete novices to people that I had for 4 years that I could push. I'm like this program that you see here, I'll gladly give it to you, but like it may not work for you. And the thing
Right.
that we've both learned with that approach, as we were victims of bad coaching, and we have really seriously taken our experiences and tweaked them to improve our coaching delivery to others, is that care factor that we recognize in industry is
Coach
missing.
that cares. Really, that's at the end of
Exactly.
the
That
day.
really is truly what you are.
If somebody says, how do I be successful? I tell them straight off the bat, just be a coach that cares. Because a coach that cares will find the answer. A coach that cares will over deliver. A coach that cares will be kind, be respectful. They'll take care of you because they care. That's all you have to do. Just fucking care.
Yeah.
And you will be a good coach.
Oh, absolutely. And it's one of those things that like when I decided, Christina, you've been sitting on this podcast idea for so many months. And then I sat down to the drawing board of like, okay, well, who am I going to talk to? Because before it was just me on my own podcast talking to like my steering wheel or the dog or the pillows.
That was just
And
practice.
people were actually listening. And I'm like, oh, well, it'll be way more fun when I talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
You were the first person I thought of.
Oh, really? Like the very, very first?
Yeah, because it was like when I thought about what really,
Not the boner queen? Because I totally would have talked to her.
the boner queen was the first one who jumped at scheduling, but you literally were one of the first people I thought of because of the theme. And you know my story, and we'll share to everybody else. Like the last, well, this is 2021, but 2020 I took off, but 4 years straight prior to that, it was all about competing. It was about how lean can I get? When am I going to get my workout in? Anxiety over the process. And then when I finally turned pro and achieved my dreams, then it was like, well, then what?
Now? What
So
now?
of course, COVID crushed my soul in the moment. I mean, I literally cried when I had to tell my coach, like, oh, I need to pause because I can't handle this with no gym. But it was the best thing that happened to me because, and as I told you earlier, like gaining weight, getting my booty back, and I've got bigger boobs than ever now, and they're not fake. Like it brought this feminine side back that I had missed for 4 years. That I'm like, no, it stems back to a negative experience that I had with a boss that questioned who and what I was. I'm like, why can't I be sexy and strong and successful? Why can't I be a badass coach all at the same time?
We need more women that represent that and embody that shows that being strong is beautiful, shows that having a little bit of thickness on you is beautiful. Like we aren't just beautiful when we're ripped to shit. We're not just beautiful when we have abs. We're not just like, we're beautiful through the whole process. And when people start to love and embrace the journey, you have so much more fucking fun. Like it's so much fun. And it's amazing to learn different things about your body and not hate yourself through the process. We need more people going forward with that.
And
There's
what
nothing
really
wrong
hit
with
me?
it.
I don't know if Brandon's ever said this to you, but I've had someone special in my life when I would say like, oh, I can't wait for my abs to come back. It's like, screw abs, it doesn't matter. And I'm like, you mean you still like me? Even though I don't have abs? And that is the truth.
You had. It's the pseudo fake belief that you had that they don't even tell you. They're not even telling you that. Where's that coming from? Where's that coming from?
Right. And to be like, I mean, you still like me even though I'm not perfect? It's like, yeah. Like, who
Get
cares
over here. Give me this cushion, baby. Like, let me have it.
I know. And for a guy to say that, it was like, I had that light bulb moment, like, wow, all of the stuff is literally my own self-judgment. Even now, seasoned doing what I do and helping people the way that I help, the self-judgment still plagued me to think like, I'm not worthy of a relationship, or I'm not impressive on social media, or maybe I'm not getting clients or whatever because I don't have abs. Like it's the most asinine thing to think about. But
and then we have so many people finding the wrong person, but you're projecting out to them these fake beliefs that you have in your head. They're going to treat you the way you treat yourself. And if you treat yourself like a piece of shit, you're probably going to have somebody that eventually will treat you like shit, or eventually will judge you for those things. Like we got to move it forward. I don't care if you have to fake your confidence a little bit so that we can teach people what we deserve.
I
You know what I
think that
mean?
that's one of the things that as we face business as women, as we
Mm.
face passions, like nobody would have thought that for 20 years as a coach, everybody that like sees me from the outside is like, oh, I know you're into fitness. Like, that's cool. But nobody would have thought that after my tomboyishness and only caring about like eating like
Yeah.
chicken and broccoli or whatever it is that I was eating for 4 years, that I would be into hair now and like hair
Mhm.
care products and beauty and like doing my eyelashes. Like people would have not thought that. And like it was also another limiting self-belief that like, oh, well, you can't do that because people see you as the athlete. Who's to say
Mhm.
athletes can't be hot and want their hair to be legit
Yep.
or, you know, took some
And
pride in
here,
their
look at
dress?
this. Mm. It's a whole package though, like everything. It is because like, so I had my eyebrows microbladed. It's not because I'm bougie. It's because I don't got time to put myself together. I might have my lashes because I don't have time. Like honestly, I'm all about efficiency. If efficiency looks fucking fire, then cool, whatever. But getting back to what you said about him saying, who cares about your abs? You know, the people that matter in your life, the people that are going to help you grow, the people that truly, truly love you, they love you when you are your best or when you feel your best. That's not a look. That is an energy that you give off into the world that they can connect with. My husband loves me when I'm happy, like super happy. That's typically not a couple weeks out from a show. So I think we just have to get back to feeling like who we are is enough.
And you know that that's a key point because this person who said this to me has been around the last few years, has seen me at my leanest, my crankiest, been there when I finished
I
shows.
don't like that girl.
It's like,
Bring
and
me
like
more
literally
abs. Bring me
like
girl.
brother and sister. We would
Yeah.
go toe to toe and I'd fight over the dumbest thing because I'm carb
Girl, I know
depleted.
you be messaging me about the peanut butter and bullshit. And oh my God, am I blah, 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 blah. I couldn't imagine actually being in your space. I'd
Oh
be
no,
like,
it was terrible. It was terrible. And I'm like, I cannot believe you're still around. You know, like
that's
three
love,
years
man.
later, you're
If
still
somebody's with
around 40 pounds later, and then you still
no, if
care
somebody's
about me.
with you through that process, I think like well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be bodybuilding. It could be literally anything that's hella challenging that you're pursuing to change the world. If somebody can love you through that whole process, man, that's a good one. If somebody can love you through the bodybuilding process and maybe not even be a bodybuilder, holy shit, you better keep that one on board.
Oh, for
So,
sure, for
you know
sure.
what I mean? I'm
And
like,
I've had friends that actually were in the bodybuilding world too, that I
mhm.
thought, oh, I could call them and they'll get it, they'll get it. And I don't talk to these people anymore, so I could say this, but it was like, you are so selfish. You only text me when you need something. I'm like, hold up, you've done this too. You've
Bye.
competed. You know what it's like to be in your head. But if that's the way you feel, I don't have to talk to you anymore. And you know,
Bye.
that's the one thing people don't realize. Like when you are in a journey that is otherwise perceived as selfish, you can't see when you're in the box.
Mhm. But
Similar
isn't that
to
what
maybe
we're all
even your
supposed to do?
eating disorder, right? Like you
Mhm.
couldn't see the people that cared about you, right? You couldn't see when you're in the my boss, my old boss and mentor used to say, you can't see the picture from inside the frame.
It's true.
And
It's
so
true.
yeah, you're right. Like and Brandon's amazing with you from everything that I know and I see. It's
You know what
like
he said to me?
tell me because this is gonna be
Well,
good.
no, I just think it's powerful because we're on this like powerful kick. Um, and I think more people need to be like this because it's not easy to be with somebody like me. Definitely not. Um, he said, I want a wife that I help be so independent, so confident that she can leave me at any moment, anytime, any place, anywhere, but she chooses to stay. That's the kind of love I want. And I was like, damn, that had nothing to do with my body. That had nothing to do with my abs. That didn't have nothing to do, you know what I mean? So like, um, that's he is a good man. He's had to go through some shit, but I gotta go through some shit too. He ain't all peaches and cream.
Well, and that's how you know that you're meant to be with someone. And this actually feeds into the success piece because when we look at success, especially from a
Not a one person
entrepreneurial,
show.
exactly.
Yep.
As an entrepreneur, when you have it all on you, like your coaching business is all on you, unless you
Mhm.
start hiring assistants, like
Nobody
you
got money
know.
for that when you start out. No, you're broke.
Exactly. You learn to build your confidence
Mhm.
to do exactly what Brandon is saying. Like you don't need me, but you choose to be with me. And that is
Mhm.
the one thing that when you start doing things for yourself and you start flipping the script in your mind. Ladies, if you're listening, pay attention. I've learned
Oh
this.
yeah.
If you are falling victim to anything, whether your money is owning you, you're not owning money, whether your man is intimidating you, you're not a partnership, or whatever the case is, if you're not able to walk away and be like, I don't need that,
Mm-hmm.
then there's something with yourself
Not in a
that you
good
need to
situation.
fix. Because I'll
Right.
tell you what, in instances where I've called bluff, whether it's with a partner and I've seen, okay, you want to play? I'm going to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
They come back. Because the thing that Brandon is saying to you, it hits so home for me because I've had experiences where if I called somebody's bluff to see how much they really want to be with me or whatever,
A lot of people can't handle it, honestly.
no. And then when they
They're
come
not in a
back,
good
you're like,
place.
oh, snap, they came back. Like they're for real.
Mm-hmm.
Because there have been relationships that I've had in the past where I was like, you got to go. And they like were slow at retreating. I'm like, no, I'm going to pack your box for
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
And when you can call the shots and say like, oh, I don't need this. Like I wanted you in my life, but now it's not about need, it's about want.
Mm-hmm. That's powerful. That's
It's
powerful when you
yeah,
say it like that.
that's
You say it
exactly what happened to me at Purdue. Like when I left, I knew that there was going to be like 500 resumes for my job. Everyone wanted a job that was a director. And my biggest learn was there's power in saying no. There's power in the
so
word
much
no.
power in no and asking for help when you need it. Those are probably the two, not the most important things, but two very powerful. People say it, but people like you, people like me, people like moms, we do it fucking all. We are nonstop. Go, 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 go. We have to do it all because we have control of it. And we don't think anybody can help us. So being
Yeah.
able to ask for help and not feeling guilty or shameful and blah, 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 and saying no to put those boundaries up for yourself so that you can still take care of yourself, life changing.
You said something that just triggered something I wanted to bring up. This is for all the moms out there. I have my little son over there, my four-legged friend is sleeping. But you have a real child, little A.
Oh my gosh.
And you said
Amazing.
that when you said mom, I'm thinking, well, okay, here's where the line is divided. I have a dog and you have a real child and she's a female, right? So knowing everything that you went through as
Ooh,
a
you're about
child,
to get me on
I know
topic.
where we're going with this, right? You know where you're going. So what I admire the most about you, and this is something that's super important to recognize and even elaborate on, is I see what you post. I know how you are with your daughter, and it comes from a really good place, the way you teach her. And the way you teach her to be uninhibited, self-accepting, to do things for the right
Confident.
reasons. I love it. And I feel like if you could share, whether
Mhm.
it's people who are listening that are moms or not, like
Future
how you
mom.
parent and like you're uninhibited and it's okay to teach your daughter the things that you do. It's
Yep.
actually brilliant.
Yeah, I feel like people don't give their kids enough respect. So like and trust, like that they can handle the information that you're going to give them and that like we have mutual respect in our house. Like Ariana's given me times where she's put me in my place, like the other day where she's like, Mommy, it really hurts me when you're on your phone in the car. It's dangerous. And she was crying.
Oh my
She
God.
put me in my place. Like, okay, I could be the parent that's a piece of crap that's like, don't talk to me like that. I'll do whatever I want. No, I was like, baby, you're 100% right. 100% right. And you know what? God knew that mommy needed you to be the one to tell me because daddy told me I'd say whatever, but I needed you. So thank you. I think giving your kid a little bit more respect and trust that they can handle the information is like key. And the other thing is, so a lot of people are like, how did you compete and have a daughter? How do you do all this fitness, nutrition, blah, blah, blah? Especially because I came from that eating disorder background and I went to treatment and all these different things. People don't learn it. People aren't teaching parents these things, like how to react right there in that moment, because what you say in that moment of vulnerability with your kid has so much impact to change their whole life. And
Yes.
example being is that my daughter, like we're in a world where people pull out and try to look at differences, right? Where, she's different here or there. My daughter's pretty thick. She's like a strong built. Like I take her to the gym with me. We do shit together. And they said something like, man, you got really thick thighs. Or one said, is your parents black because she got a big old booty and all these different things. When she comes home to me, right? She's in first grade, y'all. I was like, I mean, that's a huge compliment, but why are you pointing out these changes? But the thing that matters the most is when Ariana comes home to me and I'm not prepared for that. Mommy, why did they say my thighs are big? Or why do they, my immediate response, and if you don't know the answer right away, say, baby, just give me a second. I'm going to think about that. Like, that's a great question. I was like, look at mommy's thighs. What, are they big? She's like, yeah, because mommy has really strong legs that carry me around every day, that carries your booty around every day, that does these strong squats. If I would have reacted and been pissed off at the situation, she could have interpreted that as something's wrong with her. Right.
Right.
Same thing with like, I mean, things like that. And so like people also ask how you treat yourself around your kids are setting them up for how they're going to treat themselves in the future, and how you speak about yourself, and how you, like, if you're constantly looking at your stomach and you're not good. So I don't really weigh my food a lot. And if I do, I explain it in a way that she'll be like, why are you weighing your food? And I'm like, because you know what? Mommy's kind of not knowing what makes me feel hungry or full. And I'm trying to figure that out. And so I use this to figure out what makes her hungry or not hungry. We went to ice cream and I might not get it. And she'll be like, well, mommy, why aren't you having it? You know, that kind of hurts mommy's tummy sometimes. So I always am reacting in that kind of way, or going to the gym all the time. Or why do I do cardio? You know what? Mommy is trying to be a superhero. That, I wish we had more education out there, because it's hard on us parents to always get it right. We don't. I fail every day. But there's so much power in the nonverbal, the verbal, your actions, what you do and don't do, whatever you do consistently, that's going to influence these little people. And so whether you're a mom, whether you're a friend, whether you're future kids, I'm getting chills right now because
I know, me too.
you know what I mean? And my daughter, she thinks she got the nicest booty. And like, I've had people hate on me saying, you know what, your daughter, like, she loves to dance rap and stuff like that. I really give her a lot of room for creative expression with a certain extent, you know. Um, I don't know, letting your kids kind of be who they are and not lose their own creative spark is another thing that's really
But it's
important.
different than the parents who don't teach right from wrong. Like there's a boundary. Like
Hmm.
to stifle a kid's creativity because you're very rigid and you think things should only be one way is different than the parent that just it's a free for all and they're letting their kids do bad things. Like if you're
Hmm.
just like letting your kids have a free pass to do bad things and you don't correct it, that's a totally different thing than
Hmm.
empowering them to love who and what they are and what they want to do. And one of the things that like cuz I never became really like more overt, like externally until I got to college because I
Yeah.
was a shy kid. I was like peeking around, the screen door, afraid of my neighbor kind of kid.
You would never expect that now.
Never would have.
Never.
I'm making up for lost time. But like the
Mhm.
one thing that my mom, because my dad was always working, right? And I love my dad. So like I get my work ethic from him. But the one thing my mom always did, I think, well, when she was the primary, point of contact being
Mhm.
home with me, she let me pick the things I wanted to do. So when I said, "Oh, I want to go bowling or I want to start getting tennis lessons or I'm going to play field hockey or whatever," like she never said no. She never said, "You have to be a doctor. You have to be a lawyer," because we're all lawyers. Like she
Stop
never.
trying to create mini me's and let kids
Yeah.
create themselves,
And
you know?
I feel like because and now on the flip side, like I never really had that push to be like, you have to do this. The only thing she taught me that I had to do was like, okay, look, this is how mommy balances the budget at the end of the week. This is how we write checks. This is how we pay our bills. This is how we are conscientious. This is how you do your homework. But other than that, as far as like the field that I wanted to go in, she never criticized me. I thought I wanted to be a
That's
doctor, a
awesome.
physical therapist, athletic career, and things like went the way they did. But it's like she was always proud.
Mhm.
And I'm like, wow, like looking
That's
back
amazing.
as a
Mhm.
40-year-old now, looking back, I'm like,
You did a
there were
good job.
times where I wish I had somebody to teach me, you have to play the piano, you have to play the guitar, because I can't do a musical instrument to save my life. But at the end of
Mhm.
the day, like, that's not me. And I
Mhm.
really found what I loved because they supported what I
Your
wanted to do.
curiosity, they supported whatever you were curious about, like, to pursue or do.
Yeah, we were never rich. I mean, yeah, she had the means to send me to tennis lessons and tennis camps, and we weren't like rich by any means, but they were smart with their money. So if I said I wanted to play tennis because all my friends were playing tennis, and then I excelled and started playing competitively, and they did it, like that was a different story. But
Mhm.
I think at the end of the day, like by not criticizing what I wanted to do, or by not pushing me to do what was on their agenda, it said it's okay to come to us with the things that you really want to do. And
And
it's
it's okay
okay to
for
have
you
ideas.
in the future to continue to do that, and you're not being judged by the people that you love. Like I feel like that opened up so much freedom at
Yeah.
a young age that's kind of allowed you to do that as you've gotten older, not get stuck in the status quo where you're fulfilling a meaningless purpose or job or whatever, you know what I mean? So I think that's awesome. The
Well,
only
it's
thing I would say
crazy. Oh, go ahead.
is that with Ariana, I do very much the same thing. I try to do as much as we can afford or whatever, is that if she wants to quit, because she wanted to quit gymnastics at one point, I make her follow through for at least, 2 months or something. We got to do this because sometimes they want to quit and it's not for the right reason. So I need to figure
Yeah.
out what it is. And for her, it was, we showed up late. Like I'm a consistent late person where no, like right on time, like right on that minute. But she didn't like going in there like the last girl running out, and it was making her feel uncomfortable. And so I just so we can't quit anything. If you say you're going to do Zumba, she was so mad because it was like super hard class. I said, we don't quit. Get back out here. We're not quitting. When we say we're going to do something, we do it till the end. And at the end, we can figure out whether it's right for us or not. So that's the only thing I'm pretty adamant about. I'll let her have this creative freedom and do these things, but we don't quit. We try our best.
And I think I love what you said about finding the reason why. That the reason wasn't really organic to her. It was like, okay, it was something that could be fixed.
You better get it together and be on time because I'm embarrassed. Yeah. So
So that parlays into adulthood. So we both work with clients, you both male and female, but predominantly I would guess female, especially for myself, even though I do have some male clients. But like with females, when you look at body image, quitting, I get on off consultation calls all the time. Just one yesterday where discouragement was the theme. Like what's preventing you from getting to your goals? I get discouraged. Okay, let's talk about that. Why do you get discouraged? What's the thought process? What are you thinking?
mhm.
And so, do you see this with your clients about discouragement? Because when you express to your daughter, no, you have to give something ample amount of time to work.
Mhm.
You do not quit because you're having a fleeting moment. Like, do you have that experience with your clients where it's like, wow, I could see like this is kind of what would happen to my kid if I let her quit. Like, because I
Mhm.
can see it in adults now. Like,
Yeah.
why are you quitting so easily, or why aren't you trying? Like all of these things. Like, what do you get from your client experience that you learn from?
Where they feel discouraged.
Yeah, or they quit easily, or they just can't get over that negative self-talk. Because the one consultation I did yesterday, it was like, well, for my whole life, nobody in my family had ever, changed their body or their health. I know that hypertension, diabetes runs in my family, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, it was more of a discouragement because they never touched the other side. It's different like us. We've been to the stage, we know what that fitness is like. We've backed off, we've gotten to become normal again, and then we go back into it. Like, when you've touched it, you know that you've been there.
Mhm.
But if you've
Sometimes,
never been down that road before, you don't believe that you can do it. So you quit and you
right.
quit and you quit. And that's a common theme as to why I think we get clients, because they
Mhm.
want to put an end to that quitting. They want that support.
Yeah. So a lot of times, as a coach, I'll ask lots of questions, just like you do, to try to get them to brainstorm, to come up with their own epiphanies or ahas that will help them move in that right direction. But with my clients, it's one, shifting from the goal and start falling in love with the habits and figuring out if there's other habits that can help you get closer to that goal that is easier for them to focus on, because it's a lot easier for you to focus on a couple habits of being consistent, and you don't feel as discouraged or falling off of. And so we might start with something small and easy and attainable for them that will give them some confidence by the end of the week because they didn't even really feel like they did anything. And so we'll kind of keep building on that. And then the other thing I'll talk about is, um, you have to retrain your brain to create new pathways in your subconscious, so that you don't react X way without thinking. It's kind of like when you drive to work and you're like, shit, I forgot how I got here or where my car is at when I park somewhere. It's the same thing with your brain. We got to kind of build up some momentum, get through that resistance, because you have this like blaze trail in the woods, super, like everybody's walking on it, super easy, super easy, super easy on this path that's been blazed for so long. We got to kind of go through the forest on a different path and get through all the shit. But when we start going through that same path over and over and over again, which is a better reaction,
Yeah.
you're going to get there, and it gets so much easier. Same thing. We got to work on retraining your brain to react different. And so that's hard. And I get it because I've been there. It's hard. And so those are the two things that I kind of talk with clients about. Some can handle the subconscious talk, and some need to work on the simpler things like building up their confidence with small habits. That's kind of how
I
I.
have a huge question, and this
Oh
is going
gosh.
to be, no, it's not that huge, but it's
Winner, winner,
important.
chicken dinner.
It's important for future clients or even other professionals listening who want to up their coaching game. And I'm just going to flat out give us props for this. I'm not even going to be bashful.
Okay.
The way we do business, when we talk about habits-based coaching,
Mm-hmm.
I think in the industry that we're in, there's a lot of bull crap. And what I'm trying to do, like what you also do with your posts and your lives and the things that you do when you talk to people on social, we're trying to use social to change the perception of what fitness is, because so many people, like I've had people quit, be like, I just want the plan. Okay,
I
so
just want the
you're
extreme.
literally
Oh yeah.
you're literally wanting a PDF. You're telling me you don't want support because here's the deal. You failed time and time, and I have no problem with calling people out. You have failed time and time again because your habits suck. And if you don't want to work on the habits, I don't know what you're thinking fitness is, but I'm going to tell you, go to Google for free and do not even entertain coming to me, because I
100%.
already know that if you've told me you failed 16 times and you hate your cellulite and you don't like looking in the mirror and
And the meal
like,
plan doesn't work. Then the workout
exactly.
doesn't work. We got to go back and baby step it and unlearn so you can relearn the right way. And like, I think that's a great point that you just said. The difference between like health coaches or lifestyle coaches and consultants. The consultant, there's a lot of coaches out there preaching that they're a coach, and they're really a consultant.
Well, no,
Giving
actually,
you
they're
a
probably
diet plan.
regurgitating the plan that their coach gave them.
Yeah. And so, but they're a consultant in the way that they just give the diet plan or they just give the workout plan and they just give minimal feedback. They're not teaching anybody. I can't tell you how many clients come to me and they don't know the basic information or foundation to even be a bodybuilder. Somehow they got there, but they don't even know how they got there. They don't understand the process. There's no like enlightenment for them. And it killed me. Like I've had some that don't even know how to train right, like because they've always been with their personal trainer. No, a real coach is going to empower you, teach you the way so that you can do it off on your own and you're rocking it. Like you understand the why, when, what, and how of everything you do. Whereas a consultant just tells you what to do, but doesn't give you any of that background of the why, the when, the how, what not, what happens if you don't do it. Where I think that's where you and I fall into more of the coaches rather than the consultant. Sorry.
For
Better
sure. And
point.
I think this is really, really important to bring up, because every once in a while I'll get on my kick where I want to teach people how to be educated consumers,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't like, I hate going into sales and marketing, but I don't like selling myself, because I'm just like, listen, if you picking up what I'm putting down, then there is no question that you should hire me, but there's a reason why you're not, and it's usually something else. But at least if you're making a decision, I want to help you make an educated decision, and I want to teach you the difference. And when I consult with people, and this is totally like hilarious, because like, my clients could listen and be like, oh, that's me. And
Mm-hmm.
it's chances are it's more than one person, because it's a very common theme.
Yeah.
But I have people that in consulting calls, they'll be like, well, I'm strong. I do this and I do that and I do this. And then when I actually teach the
They don't know
principles,
anything.
they're like, holy
Oh my
crap, I hate you because I've been sore for days. I'm like, so all this time you've been getting strong in the wrong way that really hasn't been bringing you
Oh
results.
man.
And this isn't like me patting myself on the back. This is like the education
This
piece
is
missing.
basic. Nope. I've trained with so many people. Like, cause like when I work out, I don't do any personal training, but if my lady leaders want to join my workout and we can work out together, let's do it. So many of them don't activate muscles right. They're doing a lunge, but they're not even doing it for the way they're supposed to. It's mind blowing the potential people have if they get back to the basics, or if they even try to learn the basics. Like it's like you said, educated consumer, like somebody like you or me. If I'm not 100% sure I'm feeling it right on the lunge, we're about to YouTube some stuff, find the what not, the what to, and then we're gonna go do it and try it out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I totally agree with you there.
Well, here's the one thing that like I see this now that I'm, 20 years into this profession, and I see the up and coming teeny boppers, doing their little booty bands on Instagram, and that's become in vogue. And I laugh because I look at that and I realize when I was that age, I was a stickler for what the textbook said.
Mm-hmm.
And the textbooks now have either gotten better or I have exposure to better professionals that, like, especially being in collegiate strength and conditioning, you learn about tempos, you learn about speed of movement, you learn about power, you learn about stretch shortening cycle, you learn about all of these things that, like, your booty band program doesn't tell you about, right? So when I look at
No
my
wonder why their
evolution,
butt's not growing.
well, yeah, exactly. So when I'm looking at these like teeny boppers, I'm like, well, think back to when I was there. Don't be
Mm-hmm.
judgmental. Think about like what you've learned over the last 20 years. I am still learning how to have that patience myself because every new coach that I have or every new training program that I try, and again, when I say try, I mean you got to stick with it for a little while. I've done the same thing for a full year before I
Mm-hmm.
changed anything because you need to give time to grow.
Yeah.
I find that there is a confidence that I have now that I don't rush the process, and I have those moments. I could even call you
I
sometimes.
feel
Like,
like you're
"Oh,
an
I
expert
can't
in that.
wait."
That's your expertise though. Like we've had this discussion too. Like I do fitness, nutrition, blah, 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 mindset, da, da, da. But my lane of expertise is like, I feel like you're a coach, but your expertise part of the coaching is really that. So you really can speak to that. And one thing that's super false is that people think that they need to change up their program all the time. And I
Yep.
am creating programs for people because they feel like they need some change because it's too boring. But like you said, you could legit do the same program for an entire year and see bomb results.
Oh, for sure. And you know what? The thing about that is like you learn like tempos. Like when I put some of my clients on different tempos
Okay,
and
explain tempos because some people don't even know what tempo is.
oh, I forget. Like now
Yeah, stop
we're
trying
in
to
nerd
be
mode
like
because I'm talking to everybody.
yeah.
So like people rush through reps. You could go to any gym and see people like flinging weight and like looking like a fool.
Yeah.
But when we talk, because we're talking not just from a bodybuilding background, but like this is muscular development. This is
Yeah.
hypertrophy. This is how you're going to make change. If you
Mhm.
don't put, the caterpillar in the cocoon to struggle out of it, it's not going to grow into a butterfly. It's the same thing with
Mhm.
your muscles. You've got to stress them. So if you don't stick
Yep.
to slower eccentric tempos or the controlled lowering or with the stuff that legitimately is going to rip the muscle apart to
And if
grow.
you have good form, good
Exactly.
motion.
Not using momentum. Like it's different
Yeah.
training for performance and power and trying to increase your vertical jump than to train for sheer muscular size and shape and the booty and the whatever, the quad sweep,
Yep.
yada, yada, shoulder caps. When I put people on a different train, it's always when I'm talking
Is
to
that your kid?
it's my child playing with his toy. When I put people on a program that flips the script on how they execute it better, that's when you get the holy crap, I'm
Holy
sore for days.
crap.
Oh, but
I
you just
haven't,
told me you've
oh
been
my
working
gosh,
out
like
for
have I
20
even
years.
trained? Yeah. Have I ever even trained before? What is this? Like they don't realize how untrained or not strong or whatever have you until they get a really good program. Like I totally would trust your training programs 100%.
And the problem is the patience that, and this is where it comes back to mindset and rewiring old habits. The mindset to stick with something, because I've actually consulted with
That
people like they
long,
want something different every week.
every
And I'm
month,
like,
every week.
every week, like you. So you're telling me you want the idea of the day. So and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I've talked about this on lives before. If you're that person that just wants to be generally active, you want to go to Zumba one day, body pump the next
Yeah.
day,
And
cycle,
do
run
it.
out.
Just be active.
Fine, but your goals will be different than somebody who
You can't be a
specifically
bodybuilder and do that. Like you can't be
right.
like, I'm going to go with Zumba and I'm going to do this step class and expect to have a bodybuilder's physique. You have to
And
stay in
I've
your
done
lane.
that. You didn't know me back in 2003 when I was a cardio junkie teaching kickboxing and dance and
Mhm.
all of these things. But it was funny to see my evolution because the people that were around since I was 19 were like, well, you were such a cardio junkie. Well, yeah. And when you look back to those pictures, my body showed it. And
Mhm. You're skinny
it
fat.
takes exactly. And it takes that commitment to seeing the plan
Nutrition too.
through. And yeah. And
And
even when I was teaching fitness classes like crazy,
mhm.
until I experimented with my nutrition at 24 years old and really honed it in, that's when the members in my classes started to say, oh, you look,
Whoa, what are you doing?
it's the food. So I
Mhm.
think that one of the things that make us really get along from a professional perspective is that we believe in the same principles, that like you got to stick to something and marry it together, because a lot of people just run with the idea of the day and they get frustrated that they're not getting where they want to get, but there's no like hours and hours of beating on the craft to see the result.
I also think that we connect because we're real people that know I think when somebody's authentic and genuine to themselves and the other person is, it doesn't matter if your beliefs are even the same, you can connect with people that connect with themselves. And I think we're both kind, we both know who we are. And neither one of us really ever have given up on each other. Like, you don't have to talk to me every single day, but I wouldn't be that bodybuilder that says, oh my God, you only call me when you need something. No, be happy that I'm even calling you because I trust your expertise right now in this situation. You know what I mean? So like, I think having friends like that, that are growers, that are authentic, that are not going to give up on you and answer the phone when you call, I think that's also why like we've kind of like stayed in touch, because our story, we have no reason to stay in touch. Like, I met you at a bodybuilding show and that was like it. You know what I mean?
Truth be told, guys, truth be told, I had to be that person that when I was mentally in need post competition one year,
Oh,
I was like, oh my God, she's the perfect person to call, but she's going to think I'm crazy. And I was like, oh my God, I
you were
need you.
definitely
Don't know
crazy.
me, but I need you. And that started this.
Our friendship. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's one of the biggest things. Like, if you are able to be vulnerable, to reach out to someone that you know has been through some stuff that you are going through, that could really help. Like, that is the essence of like how you get ahead in this world emotionally, because it starts up here, right? If you can't be emotionally balanced with some of this stuff, then it's really, really hard to take on the next thing. And I knew at that point in my life, she had gone through similar stuff. We didn't really talk that much, but I knew like, oh my God, she's going to know exactly how to tell me what to do. She's going to know
But
like,
I've never ever made you feel like you couldn't either. Like, I never feel like I'd never think that I ever made you feel like you were a burden no matter what. Cause bitch, you were crazy and you would contact me a lot and you would be like, oh my God, this and this and this. But I don't think I've ever said that to you or
no.
made you feel that way. You know what I mean? So whoop, whoop.
And this is the essence of really sharing what this podcast is about, because it's showing the relationships of how people really can come together, and it doesn't have to be about
100%.
competition. It's about collaboration. We are both in a similar industry. We both do similar things, yet we have little nuances about how we do things, or maybe some things that we generally like more than others in terms of our area of study.
We can learn from each other. We can grow
Yeah.
with each other and do similar things. I don't know. I've never felt competitive with you. And the thing is we actually help each other in business. Like, we'll say stuff in business talk. It doesn't have to be that way. We're not dog eat dog kind of people.
For sure. So we're really hoping that those who are like listening, watching, whatever, can really understand like this is what it should be like. When I was sabotaged by another woman as my supervisor, and I'm not even embarrassed.
Girl, I was too. I was fired from a supervisor that was a female. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I've been working since I was 12 detasseling. I've never been fired. What?
It
Yep.
slaps you upside the head. I mean, and it shows you like this is uncomfortable. And my journey with that really pushed, like, for me to shape what my values are for my coaching program, for my relationships with other professionals, for collaborations. Because when you realize like that person that left a sour taste in my mouth, they made themselves look foolish to everybody else that was around me, seeing me go through this. And nobody in my circle that like I value, that is actually really important to me and important people,
Yeah.
don't respect you either. So you just made yourself look stupid for trying to tear down another woman.
And don't get so caught up in that, because, and some people will say this too, because I've had some haters, some big haters, to the point where one person for 2 years would go to other bodybuilding shows, talk shit about me, would go to other gyms and be like, you know, this Jacqueline Sobotka, she don't know how to coach people. She starves them. And then I would have like pros and gym owners and all these people reach out to me and like, what the F is this person? People that resonate with that person are not my people. People that trust and believe the haters are not my people. So thank you so much for giving me more time to not waste on those kinds of people. So I don't entertain it. Somebody want to make fun of me, somebody want to do something, it's okay. I'm still on my path. I'm still on my lane. I'll say, hey, 10 years later when I'm achieving my dreams and you stayed there, bye. So like, I think not only saying we need more women out there that are like, you got this, girl, let's do this together, let's rise, we all rise to the top together kind of thing, to not entertain that. Don't give that power over you. Don't let it like fulfill your mind as if you're less than. Rather keep reaching for those stars while they're hanging on the lower level. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I just hope that everybody who's watching and listening really understands that there's a lot of power in this and that you don't have to
So much, man.
settle for that crap. And we are the type of people, yes, you can reach out to us anytime. So let's get to the juicy details. How can we get in touch with you?
Yeah,
Where do you prefer to have communication if anyone wants to reach out?
absolutely. First, I want to like, because I don't think I said it. We just kind of jump right in, but
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you so much.
I cut
Yeah.
to the chase kind of person.
No, seriously, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. Like, I absolutely love this and I love what you're doing and I love your mission. I actually think I got caught up in your intro, like, wow, that's so cool. Like that I forgot to be like, oh, thank you so much for having me on here. And I look forward to maybe having different topics in the future. But if somebody wants to reach out to me, they can go to my website. It's www.jacquelinesobotka.com. My Instagram, Jacqueline Sobotka, Facebook, Jacqueline Sobotka. How you spell Sobotka is Sobotka. And then Jacqueline's just Jacqueline. So, yep, the best way to reach me would either be Instagram message, Facebook message, or go straight to my email, and you can opt in or go to the contact page that will directly email to me and I'll respond to you personally. So, yep, all the goodies.
Yay! We keep it simple with our names nowadays, but definitely check it out and make sure that you give us a little bit of feedback. We will link all of the stuff in the bios and in the descriptions and YouTube and everything here.
Yeah, and if you want to sponsor this show, you want to be somebody that in the apparel, pop those dollars out at my friend, you totally can. We would love it so that we can keep doing this mission. I'm not kidding. Like
we are business ladies at the core.
Yes, and I don't mind asking for help or following your podcast and stuff like that because, like I said, we need more of this to make a huge difference, to rewrite the story of what women keep telling themselves. So yeah, if people want to like come support the mission, then there you go. I'm doing it for you. Okay. I'm doing your promo for you. Okay.
She knows I'm bad at self-promotion.
We business women help business women. All right.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for making this lively and fun and of course, very informative and educational. We look forward to doing this again.
Yay. Thank you so much. I was going to say, if anybody has any like topics that they want us to cover, like specifically to me, definitely let you know.
Definitely. Signing off for episode 3. Oh my gosh, 3 already.
Yay.